Alright guys, so just a bit of a concerning sound coming from the car, and I wanted to kind of get people's perspective on it. To me it sounded a little bit like rod knock. So a little bit of background to it. I have since changed out the exhaust slightly since I last put, so there's no back box, it's a straight through exhaust, so the sounds are different since then, but that's okay. I kind of like the sound of it. The gearbox has an inherent flaw with it, as in I'm getting bits and stuff like that in my oil. Doesn't want to shift perfectly every time, but that has been going for the last 7,000 or 8,000 miles. It's been fine, if you know what I mean, or not fine, but sorry, it's been flawed but still working. So I don't know necessarily, it could be the torque converter on that gearbox that's actually giving me the issue. I'm not sure. The car sounds quite good, but when you're accelerating from a low speed, or you can hear either rod knock or the individual cylinders firing. I'm not sure of the sound, if you know what I mean. That's why I'm making the video. So what I'll do is, this is a cold start, and I notice the oil pressure sits like that. Now it always did that, and then as soon as I start this, it will fly up. Well, it takes a second and then it just goes up. So I don't know if that's just a delay in the system. Look at the oil pressure, and then it goes up. Now we're in a tight yard, so the sound is going to be very loud. I hope you're able to hear that. I'll pop the bonnet now, and I'll just have a look at that, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it for a drive. I'm going to hopefully be able to get that sound I'm talking about over the audio in the phone. I'll get it up to temperature as well and give it a couple of revs, and I might also just see if I have any blow-by on the oil cap. I'll do it all on video, and then hopefully maybe the community might be able to figure out what actually is going on, if it is a case of a rebuild for the engine or a new engine, or if it's possibly the torque converter that's making that sound. It could be. I don't know enough about the transmissions to tell you that. Anyway, look, I'll pop the bonnet here and we'll give it a quick rev and we'll just see. So as you can tell, it doesn't look like there's any blow-by there. I'm going to do it again when the car is up to temperature. Currently it's ice cold. That was the first start from an overnight lie up and everything. The oil pressure looks good to me. When it gets right up to temperature, that can be a little bit below 2 on idle, but as soon as I get 1200 RPM, somewhere in that region, that's back up at 3. So the oil pressure seems to be holding okay for me. We'll go for a quick drive with it. I have a few little things I have to do today job wise, and hopefully I'll be able to get some audio of the actual sound I'm hearing, which sounds a little bit like rod knock, like I say, or individual cylinders. It's definitely that kind of sound, if you know what I mean. It's not actually a terrible sound, but if it means the end of the engine, that's a different story. Okay, I'll get some more now in a second. Alrighty guys, so it's been a little while later. You can see the car is pretty much on bang on for temperature, and it sits at just over 2. When it gets properly heat soaked, that can get down to just below 2, but pretty much the exact same as you're seeing it there. If I put this into park, obviously you can see that the oil pressure spikes a little bit more higher, just because of the RPM, and then see as it goes to just above 1, it hits 3. So I think that part's pretty alright. I can't hear the sound I'm talking about, right? With the like that all sounds. Maybe you can slightly hear it there. Right, let's stick it into drive and just go as far as the top of the road here and we'll just see if we can hear it. So I can instantaneously hear it a lot louder now. And it's there. I'm just going to turn this corner here and we'll see if we can hear it. The tighter the buildings, more it reverberates and you can hear it louder. I hope that's coming through on camera. Very smoky when I give her the beans too. Much more than she used to be. A lot smokier than it used to be. I don't know, maybe there's a boost leak possibly could be causing that, would it? Like it feels sluggish as well. So let me just have a look, see if I can. Yeah, it's not really making boost like it should either. So that means it probably is a boost leak, or the turbo itself is maybe gone. I don't know. You guys might be better suited to knowing than I would. I'll just. I'll pull in here and maybe I'll pop the bonnet and see if we can make that sound. So I hope that you can hear that on the over the phone's camera. Let me just. So what do you guys think? Most likely it's the turbo, isn't it? just because it's producing so much smoke. And then as I rev in neutral, I do get a pull down on the vacuum. And then let's just go for a quick drive, and you can tell me. Hopefully you can see that. What I'll do is I'll go out onto the road where I can. I'll go out onto the road where I can give it a proper pull, because it's automatic. It's quite loud, like. Okay, so that was lots of smoke. I wasn't able to look entirely at the boost gauge, but I don't think it even hit 1 bar. Whereas this setup was making 1.45 bar. So that to me spells a bit of there's something up with the turbo. Any other advice, guys? I'm going to check the turbo for play in the shaft. I was looking for an excuse to put in a HX35 anyway. But what are your general thoughts so far? Is there any red flags you're hearing or seeing there? Is it usual for a turbo to give that noise like that when it's failing or when it's failed? And everything like that. It's got that kind of noise like an individual kind of. I thought it was the individual cylinders, that's what I could hear, but it's a weird. It's not like the turbo sounds I would have heard failing before, which was more like a high pitched squeal or whatever. Anyway, I'm open to all advice I can get on this. Okay, so I pulled just the air intake for the turbo, and it's a little bit on the oily side. I haven't wiped it or cleaned it or anything, so it doesn't seem like it's not major. It's not going to have diesel runaway or anything from that, but it is letting oil pass. Now, I know they say you shouldn't have oil getting past. I've never had a turbo that didn't let some oil pass, so take of that what you want. Now this one is a little bit. Like, I have a little bit of wiggle room. I can go up and down it very, very slightly, and I can go in and out very, very slightly. I spin it, and she spins beautifully. So I'd say, yes, I have a worn turbo, but nothing major. Now, I wonder if you guys can see, if I bring you in here, and I set my focus right, boom. That is my stainless pipe coming off the manifold that I made up is actually cracked and twisted. So that's my fault, isn't it? And that's probably the reason why it sounds like that. Maybe somebody else can lend a hand on that or thoughts on that. You see where the actual turbo is fouling into the side of the block ever so slightly, not doing a huge amount of damage though, so I'm not overly worried about that. But that crack, I have to change out that, like, that has to be changed. It's just a case of, do I wait and get a HX35 and do a proper job once off? That's probably also the reason. Like, I was getting this kind of sound when I turned off, like I had a bad engine mount from this area, and I couldn't quite figure out why, if you know what I mean. Because the engine mounts both felt okay on both sides. So that is probably what's happening there. As I turn off the engine, there's enough play in that that's making it bang just here. Anyway, guys, just a little update on what's going on. Just on a side note, it's dirty, but that's how she looks now. I've raised the rear of the suspension, and the front suspension looks higher, but it's not any higher. I actually much prefer it, believe it or not. I'm not into that stance life. This to me is perfect. Now that's sitting slightly high because I had the boot loaded about 10 minutes ago, so that will sit slightly lower, but no, I like it. Good and aggressive size wheels as well. Makes a massive difference to the driving on these. I had all those polybushed suspension, Coney shocks, as you all know. If you follow the build, you know everything that I've done to the car. It's got an ASD limited slip, or ASD slip on the back. It's not acting perfect, that limited slip, but the biggest transformation to the handling of this vehicle was those wheels. Has just made a huge difference, turning wise, everything. The whole thing feels far better. Anyway, guys, that's been an emotional day. Thanks for watching. Cheers. Bye.